So this is kind of interesting, so I thought I'd make a quick video. I've been doing author website audits all day, so I've been looking at other authors' Amazon pages and telling them what's wrong and how to fix it and how to get more sales. And usually what I say almost every time is that they don't have any keywords on their description. So I only noticed today for my own book, well, I noticed two things. One, I noticed it's selling pretty well. It's down to 18,000 in the paid store. And this book was published over a year ago. It's only the first book in the series. There's no sequel or book 2. It's a pretty long book, but it's also priced at full price, so it's $3.99 right now. So actually, I'm happy with what this book is doing by itself because I'm not promoting it and I'm not running ads to it. I don't believe I'm running Amazon ads to it, although there might still be one going. So mainly, I'm still getting good reviews on this. I'm almost up to 100 reviews. Some of the reviews are new. So people are actually, reading and buying this book. So that's exciting to see. And actually makes me really want to work on book 2 in the series quickly because what I haven't done and I really should have done in the past is capitalize on whenever I have a book that's doing pretty well, I should get the second book out pretty quickly and finish up one series at a time. However, I've got a lot of other things to work on right now, but the reason I'm bringing this up is that I don't have a lot of keywords. I don't have any keywords. The way I noticed actually that there was a problem was that when I went onto Amazon and I searched for the keyword mermaid, I didn't show up. My book was on page 7 of the search results. So this isn't the only way that readers browse for books. Often they'll go through here and go through the categories. Actually, I'm not even sure if I'm in the young adult mermaid category, which I'll check in a minute. But the main thing is when they go up here to the search bar and type in mermaid, they'd have to go through 7 pages to get to my book here on the 7th page. And there are 20 books per Amazon page. So that's about 125 books that people have to pass over before they reach my book and before they find my book, which is kind of a big mistake because that just means I have to be driving more traffic and sending more traffic. I'm not, like if I was showing up on the first page of Amazon search results, I would see a lot more sales. That's a hypothesis. Anyway, that's what I'd like to try and prove by fixing my book description and title a little bit and seeing how quickly I can actually show up on the first page of Amazon. I actually have another free book, and I've made some mistakes with my publishing. I have a part 1 kind of that's a sample that's free, and then I have this full edition. I think in the part 1 free sample, I say really clearly a young adult mermaid romance or something like that. I use the keywords. However, because it's free, Amazon has stopped recommending free books in searches. So when you search for, mermaid, young adult mermaid books, it's probably that free first book which would have shown up, except that Amazon is suppressing the free results because they want to show you books that you'll actually buy. And probably all the link building. A lot of times I've mentioned the book on my website and stuff. I'm probably linking to that original sample rather than to this one, which is the new one. But even so, I don't have the keyword mermaid anywhere in the top of my description. So of course it's not showing up for mermaid, even though I have it down here. More specifically, down at the bottom or in some of these reviews, mermaids used. So maybe like 3 or 4 times down in the lower description, I have the words mermaid, but where it really counts is up here in the description, the closer to the left-hand side that it can be. And I think probably previously I had used a bunch of keywords in here and then I took them out because it wasn't converting well and it wasn't selling well. This book probably wasn't selling too well. So I was playing with a whole bunch of different kinds of blurbs and descriptions. And finally I ended up with this one, which seemed like it was working pretty well and converting pretty well, which is when I stopped it. So there's a couple considerations. If you're not relying on organic traffic, like possibly during this time, I was also spending a lot on AMS ads. So if you're already getting the visibility by pushing your book with advertising, then the conversion is the most important thing. So the copywriting, hooking their attention. They found that a dead girl on my birthday. I'm not entirely sure that her killer isn't the boy I just tried to kiss. I tried to focus more on the intrigue, the dead girl, kind of this is a dark thriller fantasy. Previously it was like young adult mermaid fantasy, and I think it appealed too much to young teens who were expecting something a little more magical, and mine's actually kind of a dark suspense thriller kind of thing, even though it is a mermaid romance. It's just more dark and adult than readers expect. So I think this description converts well, which is why, it's probably selling pretty well. But I also would like it to show up a little higher in the organic search results so that they don't have to sift through so many books and get to my book on page 7. This book really should show up on the first page when anybody searches for mermaid. And I think my previous thought pattern was that people who search for mermaid and people who look for mermaid romances probably aren't my ideal reader. This is really something that's more for paranormal romance or urban fantasy. But paranormal romance or urban fantasy are much more competitive keywords. I would have to really try hard to cram those keywords in the beginning, like in the beginning of a sentence on top of my blurb. That would be pretty difficult. And I think even if I did, it'd be really hard to rank for those keywords because those are so competitive. But my assumption is because mermaid's not so competitive, it won't be as hard to get up to the first page for the keyword search. And at this point, I just checked KDP Rocket, and it says there's 14,000 people searching for mermaids on Amazon. That, again, may not be my ideal target audience, so that's something I need to keep an eye on and check. If I put mermaids up here and I start showing up for the keyword search, is that the right audience for this particular book? Even though it is a mermaid book, she doesn't really become a mermaid till close to the end, so it's more of a dark suspense thriller. But if it's hard to position or hard to sell and I can't compete for paranormal romance and urban fantasy anyway, then I really need to focus on, anything that's going to really get more visibility. So it's a little bit of a risk to attract mermaid fans if this isn't the book for them. On the other hand, it's better to be seen than not to be seen. So since this is like closest to a mermaid book than anything else, even though there's witches and magic and some other things, it's classifiable as a mermaid book. It's been compared to The Little Mermaid for adults or things like that. So it doesn't really make sense to avoid the keyword completely, which is probably what I was trying to do up here. Anyway, so this is kind of a quick test. I'm going to try to revise this a little bit, and then I'll tell you how quickly the results changed in the search results. So I went into Amazon Author Central, and I made a couple quick changes. So first, I had gone into KDP and fixed this to Shearwater, a young adult mermaid romance or something like that, but somehow it hadn't saved or something, so I went through to KDP again and just set this up. So hopefully the subtitle will change and we'll have mermaid as a keyword. And then also, I edited this with Author Central. All I did was take one little piece of one of my reviews and I edited it up here on top. So if you're a fan of mermaids, magic, and mayhem, look no further. I like that because I have the keywords mermaids, but also it's magic and mayhem. So because of the mayhem, maybe that's enough to symbolize that this is kind of a dark fantasy that's not just like a lighthearted young mermaid book for kind of younger teens. I'm not quite sure if I should. This one right now is in H2 header 2 tags, which probably actually has more strength for the keyword. So I should probably also test whether if I put this in H2 up on top, it would actually convert better because the H2 tag has more weight. I also remember that I was just going to change this to, I'm going to take out if you're a fan of and just put mermaids all the way to the left. That should give it a little bit of boost in SEO. And then I need to change this part. So this is another part of the review that I use, which is why I use this 5-star symbol here. I'll try that out for a little while. I'll report back on results in another email. However, I'm already kind of doubting myself and thinking what I might want to do instead is put the H2 up on top and just do mermaids, magic, mayhem, like that, plus a review, a good review, and then also starting from here, maybe with an H3 or a bolded tag. That way my mermaids would be really big and bold on top. This is probably enough of a hook to capture people's attention. and I'd probably get more keyword ranking from the H2. So I'll probably try that later. But I'm going to try this one out for now, and then I'm also just going to try out these symbols down here, which are Unicode HTML symbols. I think it'd be really neat if I can choose genre-specific or book-specific symbols to use in my book description. So I'm not totally sure if that's okay or not, but I'm going to publish it and see if those show up on Amazon and see if they look good. So I'll make another video or follow-up video and see how my rankings have improved and what page in the results I am after making these changes. So I'm making this follow-up video only, I think, less than 5 minutes later. My new description and title are already up on Amazon, so now I have mermaid up here in the title, and also mermaid is the first word to the left top of my description. So now when I go into the Kindle store, and there's some arguments to be made that Amazon is more likely to show me things that I want. So it's possible that just by searching for my own book and clicking on my own book a couple times, it's changed the algorithms and changed the position of my book so it shows up higher in search results. That's possible. However, when you go into Kindle Store and you search for mermaid now, what happens is my book is on the 3rd page. So before it was on the 7th page, now it's the top of the 3rd page, which is basically like doubling the results. I've gone from like the 120th mermaid book on Amazon to something like the 40th. So that's actually a really big improvement. That only took me 5 minutes because all I did was change a couple keywords in the description and the title. But I wanted to try one other interesting trick that I've never really focused on, but it makes a little bit of sense. So I went on Facebook and to my Facebook group. In my Facebook group, I'm almost at 200 reviews, so this is kind of a nice time to just have a shout out. I say Shearwater's at 199, who wants to be lucky number 200. This is a review request. Get a little bit more visibility. Maybe I have some new followers who haven't read the book yet. Then thanking everyone who reviewed it already, rather than saying like, please review my book. I think it works better to show gratitude this way. But then what I did was, rather than just taking the direct link to the book, which is normally what you want. You would want this part that ends in the ASIN number when you're linking, for example, on Facebook or from your website or your blog. The danger is that I'm getting this referral information, so that might tell Amazon that I'm logged into my account, that's Derek Murphy, and so I'm telling fans to go and review the book, and then if they post book reviews, Amazon might delete those reviews. But the interesting thing I wanted to include was this part over here, which is keywords equal mermaid. So all I did to get that was to go into Kindle Store, search for mermaid, scroll until I found my book, click on my book, and then the URL up here on the top should go straight to that book and also include the keyword mermaid in the string. So when people click on it, I'm kind of getting some like SEO credit for that keyword. Actually, just to be totally safe, I actually logged into a different browser and I'm not signed in, just to make sure that when I get that link, it has the keyword phrase mermaid, but maybe doesn't have the identifying information that might get the reviews deleted. So I haven't signed in. I'm in the incognito window, so it's a little bit anonymous. And I notice when I go to page 3, the order is shifted around a little bit. So like I said earlier, my browser history and behavior and what books I'm clicking on may have screwed up the search results for me personally, but now they should be more anonymous. I'm still on page 3, but now I'm at the bottom of page 3 instead of the top of page 3. But that still seems like a pretty big improvement because I was on page 7 the first time I checked just a little bit ago. So what I'm going to do is click on this book. I've searched for mermaid. Now I'm going to click on the book, and then I'm going to copy this URL up here, which hopefully doesn't include identifying information about me personally, and it also includes this keyword mermaid at the end of it. So I'm going to copy all of that, and then I'm going to use that special link with this quick update on my Facebook page just saying, hey, we're up to 199 reviews. It's kind of a nice time. And then if they haven't read the book yet, they might be able to see this. But the idea behind this is that when people click on this link, it's kind of like they're searching for the term mermaid and then clicking on my book. So that teaches Amazon that my book is a good result. It's what people want when they search for the keyword mermaid. So I don't actually know. This is kind of possibly an urban myth. I don't know how much using a link like this with a keyword and getting clicks on it will actually boost the SEO or the discoverability of the book for that search term. I think it probably depends on the conversion as well. So like I wouldn't want to send a whole bunch of traffic that's not going to buy. I wouldn't want to say like, hey you guys, will you test this link for me and just click it and don't buy the book? Because I think that might have an adverse effect. You want people clicking on the result for a keyword, but you also want people buying the book because the conversion, the traffic to sale conversion on your Amazon page is one of the factors that Amazon uses to decide whether or not to show your books to people. Anyway, so I'm testing this out. I think already I've seen an improvement just by changing those keywords quickly. I'm also going to do this. So I've basically published this, and then I've also boosted it for $10 for 24 hours. So the $10 is not necessary to boost posts, probably not the best way to reach your audience, but this is just a way to make sure that some of my followers see this post, and hopefully they start liking, commenting, or sharing, or whatever. It gets a little bit of engagement, just so more people will see it. So hopefully some people will click this link, and it will also help with the search engine SEO so that I show up for the word mermaid. So the final thing I'm going to do that I talk about a lot, but I haven't really done for my own books in a while, is I have some pretty good pieces of content already on a few of my blogs that are genre-specific blogs for young adult stuff. And then I have some posts like this, which is 32 thrilling young adult fantasy novels with mermaids. So it's basically a post about young adult mermaid novels. And I basically just have a big list of all these books, and the titles are linking to the book on Amazon. But what I'm not doing, at least from this post, is going like this and highlighting specific keyword phrases and then linking it straight to a book on Amazon. So I'm actually going to change this to YA mermaid novels because that's what I want to show up for. I'm going to link it. So I just highlighted the keyword phrase young adult mermaid novels and put in my Amazon link straight to the URL that ends at the end of the ISIN code. That might give it a little bit of a boost. And then I actually have the same article over here on another site, Urban Epics, with the same text. So I actually want to revise and edit this text a little bit because it shouldn't be identical content on the two sites. But then again, what I'm not doing up here is linking the keywords. So I'm just highlighting mermaid, sirens, marrow, and I'm putting in my Amazon link, and that's all. So now I have a link for these keywords down here on this post that goes straight to Amazon. So whether or not people actually click on that link or even see, I don't really want readers to actually see or click on this link, but it should signal to Amazon that my book here is a good match for the keyword mermaid.